along the way, and also building out teams and processes. So just stay tuned and we'll kick things off here in a minute. All right, everyone, let's get started here. Again, my name is Will. I am one of the co-founders here at Flowcandy, and I'm going to be going over the email design system today, a live training on really one of the secret weapons we've enabled for a lot of our clients. And I see a lot of top email teams, D2C stores, leading brands using this. So let's jump in here. Who is this for? So if you're a brand and you're looking to elevate your email designs or improve your email designs, this will be a great training for you. But also if you're an agency or you're a freelancer that helps clients out with email or digital marketing or design, this can be a useful training for you as well. A little bit about me. My name is Will Evans. I'm one of the co-founders of Flowcandy. I'm a former Shopify store owner. I've owned a couple Shopify stores and Amazon businesses. And with my business, Flowcandy, I've been working with brands for probably like almost 5-6 years now. We've worked in all types of D2C markets, from health and supplements, beauties, apparel, insurance, auto, sports and outdoors, you name it. We've worked in some even like really, really niche ones. I've worked with stores that are starting out with $0 in revenue all the way up to doing over 100 million. And we've even worked with a couple Fortune 100 brands, some enterprise brands. So I've really seen a lot when it comes to email marketing, design, CRM. But that's enough about me. Let's actually dive into why you are here. So in the next 30 minutes, I really want to pull back the curtain and show you our exact email design system that can overnight transform your marketing department. I'm going to show you some real life examples so you can see an EDS in real life and how it could elevate your brand. I'm also going to show you the team you need to build this out and just share some tips on where to find them. And I'm going to give you some other pro tips on how to get it done fast, as well as best practices so you don't get blocked or anything like that. My promise to you is a step-by-step inside look at how top brands are using an email design system. This way you can totally swipe it and install it for your brand and use it to take your email, your lifecycle programs to the next level. First off though, does this sound like really familiar to some of you guys on the call? Do you feel like your emails designs are just off-brand? You have no idea how to elevate them? Do you feel like the copy is not really good enough? Neither are the designs. Even worse, do you feel like that the lack of design or the lack of quality in design is affecting the performance of your store, your brand, and the key KPIs related to growth and email marketing? Do you feel like your team does not have enough resources internally to really elevate email designs? Do you feel like you guys are distracted with other projects? Even worse, if you maybe like tried to hire a freelancer or an agency before to really elevate your email marketing and they just kind of missed the mark. Do you feel like this? Does anyone here sort of resonate to these sort of problems? The reality is, you might just be feeling like your emails are just not good enough. And really deep down inside, you might feel like you are worried that your sales will decrease because of this. And customers will not reorder. And maybe deep down inside, you have this lagging fear that you're going to have to shut down your business because you're not getting enough sales. The real problem is you have not transformed your brand by implementing the right systems. And once you make this shift, once you guys start implementing these systems, you will be able to send better looking emails that feel like they're on brand, and really like make whenever like your customers or your subscribers open it, they're going to be like, wow, this is amazing. You'll also be able to launch them fast. That's another problem a lot of brands have, is they can maybe do these emails really good, but it takes like weeks and weeks to build. But with these systems, you can deploy high quality design emails fast, sometimes less than an hour, without getting trapped in these endless revision rounds. You also will have the right team in place. I'm going to show you some stuff on how to make this shift and how to get the team freed up. I saw Robin mention that his team doesn't have enough resources. So I'll show you how to make that shift. And then, big picture here, once you have the systems, once you have the team, you'll start getting the results you want, because you'll stop missing email sends, or you'll stop missing the opportunities you have around optimizing your email and lifecycle programs, because you actually have that team and system installed, and you're confident that the emails are going to go out on time and on brand. So let's jump in right now. The 4 email design system secrets. These are 4 shifts that your brand needs to make in order to change. So these are the 4 shifts that me, my partner, some of the people on my team, we've helped dozens of clients with over the last couple of years to really elevate their email designs and get the email designs of their dreams. And I'm going to walk you through each one of them now. So the first thing is, you need the right system. There's this common myth that like a lot of these top D2C stores are just better at design. But the reality is, like, that might look like it is on the surface, but really, like, they've installed a system of reusable assets and components. Think of it sort of like Lego bricks, where each component is a block, and you just sort of drag and drop things in. And this allows them to deploy these emails really, really fast. And that is what's called an EDS. We call it internally an email design system. It's a set of standard and reusable blocks that create a consistent visual style across all of your emails. And think of it like your design. This is exactly how you're going to do your headers. This is exactly how you're going to do your footers. This is exactly how you're going to do your call to actions and your hero images and your logos. And normally you would start out designing this in something like Figma, or I've even seen people do it in Canva. And then eventually, once you and your team align on this and approve of this, then you just move it into Klaviyo. And that way, like, every time you need to send an email, you're just dragging those blocks in. It's like, oh, this is what the hero look like. This will be the button. This will be like our product blocks, our review blocks. And this way you're not getting stuck endlessly on every single email, like, oh, what color should the button be, or what font should the button be? What should the font be of the button? Because you've already like pre-approved this system. So some of the benefits of this system that we've seen, number one is speed, because it totally accelerates the workflow. You're able to move past all of those blockers that normally a lot of like beginner stores, beginner brands get blocked on. And it saves time and allows you to sort of focus on like some of the more important things, like maybe like segmentation or copy or offers or stuff like that, and not get blocked on nitpicky design stuff. It gives you the flexibility too, because you're allowed to like sort of build this and spend less time, and it gives you more time to spend on other initiatives. Another big thing the EDS helps with is consistency, because that's what a lot of brands struggle with. They might have one email that their top designer worked on that looks really good, but then that designer is busy for the send next week, and the owner had to go into Canva or Klaviyo editor and quickly put something together. And so the EDS allows you to have a consistent brand across all of your emails, campaigns, and flows. And it allows you to scale because you're saving time, because you're now focused on other initiatives that could grow your brand or your store, like paid traffic or other life cycle marketing initiatives, besides like getting bogged down in design. So it's really key that you make this shift. It's really key that you focus on implementing an email design system, because if not, you and your team are just going to continue to waste hours every time you need to build an email, going back and forth with your team. And kind of like I said, your emails will feel inconsistent because you'll have discrepancies across your typography, your buttons, your fonts and logos, because you don't have a system and you're just kind of winging it every time you send an email. And you're going to have a hard time scaling because you and your team will be spending too much time managing those nitpicky email issues instead of focusing on other initiatives that are really going to grow your store that sometimes have nothing to do with email or Lifecycle or Klaviyo. So that's shift number one. Shift number two, okay, is you need the right team. There's this myth out there that a lot of store owners I talk to, brand owners, are like, oh, I just need a really good designer. I'm just one really good designer away from totally elevating my email marketing flows and campaigns. The reality is it's not that simple. The org chart of top email marketing teams looks much more like this. There's normally like a high-level project manager that's normally really talented at digital marketing and can be like deployed in a lot of different places. There's normally a copywriter involved, a designer involved, and a developer involved. And just so you know, this is like our team here internally at FlowCandy. This is how we run it. And this is what I've seen like really scaled up brands have too. They have that project manager that can manage the workflow, that can sort of blueprint the emails, manage the team, also do like quality control, because that's a really important thing that no one thinks about. Then you have the copywriter, someone who can really write the copy and make sure your brand voice is nailed and consistent across channels and platforms. This is really key. Then you finally have the designer, okay? You need the project manager and the copywriter first to kind of blueprint, get everything organized, and then the designer can come in. And if they have an EDS already, they can take that and sort of get emails done quickly and sort of tweak things for certain flows and campaigns. And then lastly, this is what a lot of people don't understand, is designers aren't developers, okay? They're good at like working in Figma, or we use a tool called Zeppelin or Photoshop. Sketch is another one. They're not necessarily good at taking designs and implementing them on emails or landing pages or other things like that. So you really need somebody like a full stack developer or someone who's pretty competent with HTML and CSS to take these designs and install them into template editors. So this is really like the entire org chart of what we see as elite email teams that have really mastered the EDS. And it's really important, guys, that you understand this, because if you don't, you're just going to waste time. You're going to waste time in your budget just thinking you need a designer. You're going to go out and be like, oh, I found this amazing designer. But then it just takes weeks to get one flow or a couple campaigns done, because you still need to write the copy. You still need to do the QA and quality control. You or someone on your team still needs to implement the email that the designer does, okay? And then because of that, your emails are never going to elevate from a copy and implementation standpoint, because again, designers aren't copywriters, designers aren't developers. And there's certain things there that are very, very key. There's certain strategies and tactics that a really good copywriter can do and a really good developer can do from an email medium standpoint that a designer just doesn't understand. So it's really, really important that you understand like the entire org chart of an elite email marketing team. So that's shift number two. Shift number three, okay, some of you guys might be running bigger stores here or have a bigger team. And the reality is they're like, oh, well, we already have a designer and copywriter in-house. Okay. And I will just get them to do it. Okay. Like they're already working on our landing pages and our paid ads. And, I can just get them to handle the email stuff. Thanks for asking some questions. I'll be getting to them in a bit. So stay tuned to the end, Matt and Philippe. We'll get to them in the end. But these are some great questions. Shift number 3, though, like I said, is if you have in-house people already, you need to make sure they have enough bandwidth. A lot of times they're often swamped fulfilling for other channels, and they don't really understand how much is involved in the life cycle email marketing workflow. And what I mean by that is this is the actual workflow that we use here internally at FlowCandy. You can totally swipe this for your own brand. But typically what I see is you need someone like a copywriter or a project manager to sort of blueprint and plan out and write the emails. Like, what are we going to do for this flow? What is this campaign angle going to be? Like, what is the goal here? What are the sections going to be? What is the copy in each sections, the call to action? What is the segmentation going to look like? Then you need the designer to come in and design that, okay? Then a lot of times, if you're a bigger brand or you're running an agency, you need to revise and refine that. That's just version 1, okay? Like the client might need to get feedback, or you might need this other person on your team, or you might need your manager. So you have to go through this phase of getting feedback, collecting feedback, implementing that feedback, changing that, then getting other revisions. So there's this whole revision process that takes a lot of time to get through. Once everything's sort of revised and you're on the same page, you then need to take those designs and implement them in Klaviyo, which again, you need that developer to do, especially if it's going to be high quality. It's very hard to find a designer or somebody like a project manager that can also understand CSS and HTML and implement it. And then I'm going to get into this a little bit later. There's this whole testing and quality control, quality assurance piece that most people have no idea, that they really don't have a firm understanding or firm grasp of, that really is needed to make sure your emails are on point. And then lastly, once you launch this, like once you launch a flow or once you deploy a campaign, you still need someone that really understands reporting, KPIs, digital marketing, and can sort of analyze the results and monitor and then sort of report back and be like, okay, this is what we did. Was it successful? What do we do next? So this is the actual workflow, and it's a lot. A lot of people really underestimate how much is involved in this workflow. Whether it's an agency or a brand owner, if you're watching this, it's quite nuanced to get through this entire workflow and to get emails out on time and fast. And yeah, Ashlyn has been talking, one of our someone on our team at FlowCandy. Yeah, really great if you have rock star developers who can really manage the implementation process and can help with quality control too. But yeah, guys, it's really important you understand the workflow, because if you already have team members in-house, like you already have a designer on your team or you already have a copywriter on your team, all right, if you just try to throw them into email, you're going to spread them really, really thin. And this could cause delays in other channels. It means, okay, well, now I'm working on this campaign and now I don't have time to help you out building this new landing page or doing this new Facebook ad that you want me to write. And that could impact performance of other channels or set you behind on bigger brand goals. And worst case, and I've seen this too, where brands have just spread their designers too thin and they just get burnt out and quit. They're like, screw this. I don't want to do this. I can't manage all these different mediums and channels for you. So really, really important that if you have a team already in place, you need to analyze and make sure they actually have enough bandwidth to handle the email design workflow. And then the last shift and this is really important too, is your team actually needs to understand email. It's a different medium. A lot of people I talk to are like, oh, email, it's just like building a landing page, right? If I can build a landing page, I can build an email. The reality is there are some common pitfalls to this. There are very specific things related to email that a lot of people that are more just sort of generalized specialists in digital marketing or agencies sometimes miss. And I see this a lot. At FlowCandy, we have a 30-point quality control checklist. Some of it is, like silly things that every checklist should be involved in digital marketing. Like, is the copy spelled right? Are we using the right logo? Stuff like that. But there's other like very, very nuanced things with emails that a lot of people need to be aware of. Yes, Pete, we'll share the slides in the comments after the presentation. But here's just some common ones that I see, with email and like understanding quality control. A lot of people don't understand, brands, agencies, that emails render differently across different inbox providers, whether it's Gmail or Apple Mail or Yahoo. Outlook is like by far the worst one. Sometimes it totally renders different in Outlook. Not only just inbox providers, but also different platforms too. Like you might have one email that looks different on an iPhone versus an Android versus Windows 95 desktop versus I'm on a Chromebook right now versus a Windows computer. So you need to understand all these different platforms and inbox providers and how like your designs can change based off that. Obviously, there's the difference between mobile and desktop. What I see a lot of brands make mistakes with is they sort of design for desktop, because it's easier to do. When I'm actually working on design, I'm doing it on a desktop. But the reality is, if you're a brand and you're on this sort of training right now, I guarantee you, almost all of you, most of your traffic is coming from mobile. So like you really need to design for mobile. Also, some other things. Yeah, some guy just said email templates are long. They don't realize Gmail will cut this off. Yes, that's called clipping. Sometimes the file sizes get too big. I forget what it is off the top of my head, but I know for us, we try to keep them under 100 kilobytes and we don't add in a lot of stuff. But also there's some other stuff like discount codes. People forget to QA those. They put a discount code in an email, but it doesn't work. Or it's a dynamic discount code and it doesn't work. Or the dynamic logic is messed up. I see that a lot. Saw that last night. Got an email and they forgot to put the double brackets on in whatever CRM they were using, and it showed up as first name instead of actually showing my first name. So really need to double check your logic. Dark mode is a big thing that we're focused on right now. Making sure, there's a lot of users out there that have a dark mode enabled on their phones, their laptops. We talked about file sizes. Another big one is the web safe fonts. All right. A lot of you guys are probably watching this, and especially if you're a brand, you might have like a custom font that you're using. All right. That is not always going to render correctly on certain platforms and certain devices. So you need to really understand fallback fonts, or you need to use images instead of actual dynamic or like sort of live text fonts. I saw someone said, Philippe, what if you use an all image email and just upload them as slices? Would you need a dev then? You could do that. That's one way to do it. The problem with that is, especially on Gmail, you have to press display images, or the user on their phone has to press display images in order for those emails to show up. I know a lot of brands that do that. We work with a very well-known brand right now, and they use a lot of image-based emails because they don't want to use fallback fonts. They don't want their fonts falling back to like Helvetica or something like that. But that's sort of the risk and the reward that you got to juggle. But yeah, I mean, that's like some very just sort of nuanced things with quality control that I see a lot of brands not understanding very well. And a lot of agencies, most of the email agencies understand it, but a lot of just sort of generalized digital marketing agencies don't. All right. So really, really important. You need to understand the email medium. You need to understand quality control. If you don't, you're going to risk your emails not being implemented properly. Worst case, this could damage your brand reputation. Another thing I noticed is like it could upset colleagues or bosses. Like a lot of times they'll forward you this email, hey, like such and such is screwed up, but they don't really understand. They might be on Outlook or they might be on dark mode, and they might not understand the medium. So you need to sort of prepare for all of these things. And even worst case, like worst case, you screw up like dynamic logic or something like that, and it causes a customer not to order, or even worse, it causes them to churn. So you really need to understand like the actual quality control piece of email marketing. Yeah, Outlook things. All right, so let's go over just recap here, guys. The old way of doing things is you have no system, you're not hiring the right team, or you're burning out your team, or you're not coding or sort of implementing or doing quality control specific to the email medium. And my promise today to you guys was to show you that step-by-step inside look at how top brands and how internally at an agency like Flowcandy, we are using these email design systems, and how you can totally swipe what we're doing to either help your clients or to take your brand to the next level. And the 4 shifts you need to make, I just sort of want to recap, is build the right system, build the right team, make sure that team has enough bandwidth, and make sure the team understands the email medium. If you can accomplish those 4 things, then you're going to be able to really elevate your emails and take them to the next level and have really what I would call like best in class email marketing. And, now you guys have a choice. Our team can help you with this, okay? In the next 48 hours, my team and I, we have set aside some time for a free strategy call where we can personally speak with you about the challenges you might be having with email design, Klaviyo, flows, campaigns, segmentation, A/B testing, SOPs, processes, you name it. We've seen it all, and we can help you get very, very clear on sort of tackling these problems. You're going to get 110% value no matter what. We're going to get you crystal clear on the actions you need to take to start taking your email design and lifecycle marketing to the next level. On this call, we will work with you to create a step-by-step game plan that could help you elevate your brand's emails starting this month. And it's totally free, guys, okay? There's no cost to get on a free 20-minute call with us. We'll sort of unpack all of this. I just want to remind you, though, who this is for. If you're a Shopify or e-commerce or D2C brand, or really any brand or store that is using Klaviyo and is looking to scale and drastically improve their email and lifecycle marketing, I promise you this would be a great 20 minutes well spent with myself and our team to get you guys clear on what you need to do to take your emails to the next level. At Flowcandy, our mission, okay, is to help 10,000 brands to master Klaviyo and lifecycle marketing. We've worked with a lot of big brands over the years. What makes us a little bit different from what I hear from when I talk to our clients is we're Klaviyo focused. Our entire business is around that. That's the only platform we really work with. We play the long game. We're not just an agency, but we also teach our clients how to do Klaviyo and how to move it in-house. And our team is the top 1%. We only keep A players on our team, and we try to upskill the B players. You might be asking, why are we doing this? So many brands struggle with Klaviyo email marketing. It honestly personally bothers me every single day. I see it on LinkedIn, I see it on YouTube, Twitter. And like I said, it is our mission to help 10,000 brands master this channel, lifecycle marketing Klaviyo. And if it's a good fit, if you get on a call with us, if it's a good fit, we may invite you to work with us, but there's no pressure to do that. We're only going to do it if we feel like it's a good fit and we can really, really help you. So if this is something you're interested in, head to Calendly.com/Brian@FC/free call. It's a long link there. I'll leave this up right now, but this is the URL to book a free call with myself and Brian, my partner, and we will be happy to get on a call with you and sort of unpack like where you're stuck with email design and show you the right path. And with that, I also want to answer any questions. Like I said, we will share the slides. I will be dropping this in the comments after we close out this presentation. Matt asked a question. Sorry, a little late to the party here. I do client work and have some design resources, but I'd love if you can touch how agencies can use this with client work. Yeah, so if you're an agency or a freelancer that was watching this, I think that really where you have an opportunity is to really understand that org chart. That is like really, I think even agencies struggle with this. Like I said, I kind of touched on it. I've seen some more generalized agencies think that their designers can just do all of the development or encoding and installation, implementation of emails. And they think that their project managers can write all of the copy. And, really talented A player. Like we have some people on our team that like some of our project managers can write the copy. And there are some designers on our team that can do all the implementation and sometimes write the copy. But they're like rock stars and they've been doing this forever. And so they know the workflow inside and out. But most generalized agencies, they're kind of spread thin. They might be doing landing pages and paid traffic and SEO. And then we have email. And it's like, if you're a more like diversified agency, it's hard to find talent that can really understand the medium and can understand all of those other mediums. So I'd really pay attention to the org chart. I answered your question earlier, Philippe. What if you use all images and just upload them as slices when you need a dev then? A lot of times you don't, but you still might need to, especially with mobile, because a lot of times people are just uploading those images. I just wanted to add this in too. They're uploading those images as desktop designs, but they forget to do it for mobile. And sometimes it's totally different. It needs to be a little bit more tall for mobile. There's the whole quality control piece too, around file sizes, dynamic logic, and stuff like that really good developers will understand. I'm a solopreneur and not sure if I can afford a team, but some set templates would certainly help. Yeah, I think that if you're a solopreneur and you don't have a budget to hire this full team out, what you could do is just build the email design system. And then you yourself as a solopreneur could deploy the emails really fast. That's what I would focus on. Because if you're a solopreneur, you're probably writing all the copy, doing all the design and doing the implementation, the segmentation, the quality control and stuff like that. So you need to just build a system that's sort of quick, like a master template. You can clone, you can write some copy, you can drag some stuff in, and you can build quick segments and deploy emails and then focus on other things like your traffic. And so you can grow your store, increase your email marketing revenue, and then you can afford to either hire a team or hire an agency to help you with the workload and the workflow. Cool. Is there any other questions? Okay, here's one, Robin. How much should the copywriter keep the design in mind when writing copy, and how much should the designer feel empowered to change the copy when they're doing the designs? And then I saw an AI question come in. I'll answer that after Robin's. So that's a great question, Robin. Here's what I would think about. All right. I would think about when it comes to writing copy, we call it blueprinting here at FlowCandy. And we have like sort of, it's almost like a wireframe. And normally the project manager will sort of like wireframe out the email and give instructions to the copywriter on, hey, this is going to be a product block. This is going to be like a hero block, a text block. The call to action is going to be here. And then the copywriter goes and sort of elevates the copy from there. That's how we do it. I've seen other brands do it like this too. The designer certainly can feel empowered to change the copy when they're doing the design. You need like designers and copywriters on the same page, because otherwise like the copy could be too long and the designer's like, I can't actually work with this, or vice versa. Like there's not enough copy for the designer. But I think going back to that org chart, this is why it's important to have someone like a project manager that's sort of maybe not necessarily sitting above the copywriter designers, but is sort of managing the workflow of email marketing and can kind of get things organized so that the copywriters and the designers can focus on what they do best, which is write copy and design, and not sit here worrying about blueprinting and managing email and stuff like that. Okay. Do you feel like, I hope that answered your question. All right, next question. Do you think copywriters will slowly start getting replaced by, oh, Robin, we use ClickUp. That's what we use. You could use it in Asana. We use that. And I'll get to you, JD, on the collaborative feedback. I'll have some ideas on that too. But do you think that AI will start getting replaced by, or excuse me, do you think copywriters will slowly start getting replaced by AI in agencies? It's hard to say. Like we have all of our copywriters using it. It's funny when ChatGPT first came out, one of my clients was like, hey, like just start running all of our copy through ChatGPT. So we're like, okay, we started doing that. And then the next week he was like, I feel like all of your copy is just getting run through ChatGPT. And I want it more human touch. So the reality is like clients can be fickle and weird to understand. And a lot of times, like what they want is not necessarily optimization. They want sort of like a VIP personal touch. They want you to really understand your brand. And sometimes you need that human element with AI. You need someone to sort of overlook the copy, overlook the design, and sort of guide it. Because right now with AI, like we're very much in an era where it more just sort of like amplifies the workflow or amplifies intelligence. It doesn't necessarily replace it. Hasn't really replaced the workflow yet, at least from what we've seen. And Klaviyo, if you're using Klaviyo, they have launched some cool new features. They've launched Segment AI, which is really cool. You can use like prompts to write out segments instead of sitting there and dragging all the and ors. But it still needs like that human touch to sort of quality control. They've also had like with their editor, there's some AI visualization stuff you can do. Like that person just said, ChatGPT is a great way to start, but it must be massaged. I like that word, massaged by a person. We're still in that phase where it can't replace the entire workflow, at least from what I've seen. All right. Is your email design system, if you was a character in a movie, what would it be? Probably some sort of superhero, like Superman, because I feel like it saves a lot of time. I've seen a lot of teams, brands just get like trapped in just like a rabbit hole of going back and forth on design and buttons and fonts and stuff like that. And the EDS allows them to align one time on what the buttons and the fonts and sort of all of that's going to look like, so that we can get back to more important things like what is like the segmentation, the actual copy going to be, and also just more important things that are not necessarily related to email. There's other ways to grow an online store besides just email marketing. A lot of our clients are now omni-channel brands. They have a huge brick and mortar presence. There's the Amazon side as well. There's the whole paid traffic and SEO and influencer marketing and stuff like that. So you need time and energy to work on those channels as well. And the EDS allows you to sort of not get bogged down in like nitpicky email stuff, so you can focus on other initiatives. Let's see. I talked about the tool. There should be a collaborative feedback loop between copywriters and designers. Yeah. So what we use Zeppelin. I'll show you. Let me see if I can show you internally. Zeppelin is kind of like, it's kind of like Figma meets like Google Docs, I guess, where you can like sort of comment and annotate things. So that's sort of like what we're using here. And not only like feedback loop between between copywriters and designers, but also if you're an agency, you need a feedback loop with your client. All right. And if you're a bigger team, you need feedback. Where we see a lot of things break down is like managers or bosses that are sort of digital, or CMOs and stuff like that, who have like retention managers, or they have an agency working underneath them. They need a place to give feedback too. So this is what we use. The workflow might change, but we've been using this for the past couple years, and it's been working pretty good. Cool. Next question. How would you at FlowCandy go about setting up an email design system for my brand or my client's brand? I think that we have a playbook on it, and I'm happy to share that in the comments as well. But I think that like what we normally do when it comes to setting up an email design system is the first thing we do is we get on a call and we get clear about what are you actually trying to do with design. Design is very subjective. All right. It's sort of like beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So we really need to understand like what is good design to you? What is the vision you want to have for your brand? Is there any like brands or competitors or just other stores that you see that have good design that maybe we could sort of emulate from? So just having that sort of discovery process around what is good design. Step one. Then there would be an audit. Normally auditing your current designs. Like what are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? Also with email, you have to look at the results too, because sometimes good design does not always mean good results. So you have to keep that in mind as well. And you have to sort of help clients or managers, if you're working with if you're not an agency and you're a brand, like getting your boss to understand that just because the email looks really pretty doesn't mean it's actually going to perform well. There's other things besides design. There's other things besides copy that really impact results. A lot of times it comes down to segmentation or your email deliverability as well. Those are very, very important variables that a lot of clients or sort of managers or bosses don't always really understand that well. Next question. Great presentation. Could you expand on the elements needed for a strong functional EDS? Yeah, so I think that's a great question. From our point of view, what we normally focus on is, first off, like, how is your logo going to look? Like, that's normally where we start. Like, do you want it to look like this? What is it going to look like in dark mode too? So starting there, then we start with like typography. Like, hey, what fonts are you going to use? Are you using custom fonts? Do you understand kind of what I unpacked earlier around how if you're using a custom font, not all of them are going to render in certain platforms and inboxes. So getting clients clear on that, getting people on your, if you own a brand or you work for a brand, getting people in your team to understand that. We spend a lot of time there. So working on typography. If we need to use a fallback font, what is that fallback font going to be? Then we normally move into like more generic assets. Like what is your hero images going to look like? What are they going to look like on mobile? When I say hero images, I mean the images sort of above the fold. What style are they going to be in? Are we going to use overlay text over these hero images? Or are they going to be sliced, as like one user put in earlier? So we would get into that. Then there's like just sort of generic things like, what are our product blocks going to look like? What are our paragraph blocks going to look like? What is our footer going to look like? What is our buttons going to look like? If I haven't mentioned that, what is our social proof going to look like? There's other, like for other, it depends. Like we get very specific with some brands, like, hey, what is your buy now, pay later sort of section going to look like? Or how is that going to look like on mobile? Do you want a different variation of that? Like I said, a lot of our brands are omni-channel brands, and they want to drive people to retail businesses. Like we have one client we're working with that's in Whole Foods and Publix and Costco. They're like all over the place on Amazon. So it's like, how are you, like, what is your omni-channel strategy here? Some clients, they want like, where is the, like, how do you contact us? Like, especially if you have a product that's higher average order value, a lot of times a customer or subscriber might need to call in or chat before they make a transaction. So how does that journey look like, and what are the modules there? And then again, like I said, like, how does this all look on different platforms? How does it look in dark mode? How does it look in mobile? So those are all the sort of variations and elements needed. Thanks for joining, Audrey. Probably too technical to get in here, but do people realize what the DMARC rules for Google and Yahoo in 2024 mean for their business? I'm not sure. Like, I've heard that, it might get delayed a little bit, but that's happening next week, obviously. So if, in our onboarding checklist for our new clients, we set up dedicated domains and we do all of that DMARC SPF stuff ahead of time. But yeah, if you don't know what that is, we'll try to post some resources in the comments. But yeah, you need to understand that. You need to really get on dedicated domains and settle that up before February 1st, because it could hurt your email deliverability. Cool. Any other questions before we adjourn? Nope. All right. Thanks again for joining. And yeah, if you're a brand and you need help with all this design stuff, feel free to contact us anytime. Calendly.com/Brian _@FC_free call. We have the next couple days set aside, and we're happy to get you guys clear on anything you're stuck with from an email design perspective. If not, thanks again for joining, and I will see you guys next time. Later, guys.